Hi, Natalie Thompson, non-diet accredited practicing dietitian here. What teachers can do to support families to pack nutritious lunchboxes? That's the question that I was asked in response to my son's food policing and food shaming story. That was very popular in the media in April. And as it turned out, this article, which I'm talking about now, gained a lot of media attention as well. So it just shows you it's a topic that needs to be talked about, as it's not happening in isolation. And that's why I was so compelled as a dietitian mum to, write about my experiences, because I see this every day outside of my family, and to have it happen to my family, it just blew my mind. So today we'll talk about some comments I received online. So firstly, the media did well with clever titles, so they made me out to be a bit crazy. So some comments were, "Oh, why can't she just take a compliment?" So if you saw the article or my previous video, my son actually got a card in his lunchbox saying, "We love your healthy lunch." And yes, of course, that didn't sit well with me, because it creates this dichotomy of food, which we know isn't helpful for children. It's not helpful for adults. So, of course, people who commented in that way did not read the full article. I mean, who reads articles these days online? It's more just the titles. And yes, it makes people very reactive. Some other comments from teachers I received were, "Well, what happens if a student brings in 6 Tim Tams?" I was like, yep. Okay. Anyway, so in the article I was just helping teachers to look at the big picture of nutrition and help them to work inside their scope of practice. I mean, in the article I asked the teachers, are you university qualified in nutrition, like an accredited practicing dietitian or an accredited nutritionist? It's very important to work in your scope of practice, and if you have some concerns outside of your practice, that's when you refer on to someone like myself. Another thing I said too was, out of a child's whole daily intake of food, that could look like 5 meals at least, 2 of them are had at school. So about 40%, or even less, depending on how often they eat after school and before school. So again, we don't know what the child has eaten unless you ask the question. And even then, is it really any of your business, because you're not trained to assess dietary intakes like a dietitian? And the big point which I've spoken about is all food has the potential to nourish us, whether it's good, bad, or whatever term you want to use. I've heard of instances where teachers actually confiscate these bad foods. Now, is malnutrition worse than having Tim Tams? I'd say a big yes. I used to work with just purely malnutrition cases. So yeah, it's not pretty, not positive at all. Okay, so then I actually finished with some practical sort of strategies. So if you want to read the full article, because I'm just summarising here, please go to delectabledietetics.wordpress.com. So what schools can do to support parents to provide a variety of food. First of all, cease these nutrition policy and education programs that creates this dichotomy of food, this black and white thinking, as it leads to dieting behaviour, which we know has a number of adverse health effects, including eating disorders. Take the focus off parents and what they're packing and what kids are eating. Let's focus on food in general, why it's important, its different properties, how the food makes us feel, and how it makes us grow and develop and learn and do all the wonderful things that we want to do in our life. I recommended the teacher to reach out to the parent of the student that you're concerned about and have a conversation. In private, say about or talk about your concern, and ask if the parent needs some support around nutrition, lunchbox packing, whatever your concern is, and point them in the direction of someone that can help them. It's not your place to, I guess, help them with nutrition. What schools can do to support students to eat a variety of food. This involves incorporating intuitive eating based policies into these programs and allowing students to actually make food choices based on their appetite. So students should be given the choice of how much to eat and whether they eat, where parents, carers, teachers are responsible for the what, well, not so much the teachers, but when the student eats and where they eat. And a big role the students, that teachers have too, is to help students to eat intuitively. So helping students to reconnect with their internal body cues, their appetite. So you can talk about appetite, what that feels like in the body, how appetite varies throughout the day, from day to day, depending on the body needs, and encourage students to eat when they are hungry most of the time. I do get that there are 2 opportunities to eat at school, so that is not often aligned with that, but yeah, you get the idea. Encourage students to stop eating when they are mostly comfortable in their belly, and to eat food that their body actually feels like eating from what's in their lunchbox. It's about supporting students to appreciate a wide variety of food without this judgment. So, as you can see from the article, I'm here, I was here to help teachers to understand the bigger picture of nutrition, and I am in awe of what they do every day with students, particularly my son, and I just wanted to thank them. I'm not here to criticise, judge, shame. It's definitely not what I'm about. Just a quick story. When I was talking to our local newspaper, the first thing they said was, "Oh, which school is it? It'd be good to know what school to publish this in the newspaper." And I didn't give them that information because I'm not here to blame and shame the school. That makes me no better than what's going on here with the food policing and food shaming. So I'm here to have the conversations and invite people to do better with nutrition, with improving relationships with food and bodies. So you can read my article at delectabledietetics.wordpress.com if you would like to read my full story. Thank you.